What's up, you guys? This is Between the Pylons. I'm your host, John Camacho. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please leave a like and subscribe. Come back for more videos. I do have other videos on the channel about this wild card weekend, so check that out. I've done every single video or every single game this weekend, and a little bit of a deep dive, and that's what you're watching now. We're going to be going over the Seahawks and the Eagles, the final game of wild card weekend. So before I get started, I do want to talk about the story of the seasons for the Seahawks and the Eagles. The Seahawks had an 11-5 season that consisted of a lot of really close games, a lot of close wins. Russell Wilson was consistently able to make magic happen and lead his team to victory in the final moments of games. This rush first team did come into a couple issues, though, near the end of the season. In weeks 15 and 16, they lost Reshad Penny and Carson for the season, respectively. That was a huge blow to them. This is a running team. This team wants to run it down your throat and then pass with Russell Wilson and then use the weapons in the passing game. They don't want to pass first, and they lost their two best rushers near the end of the season. So that is going to be really hard to get over. They did bring in, of course, Marshawn Lynch, which everyone should probably know about that by now, to help make a Super Bowl push. And we'll see if that's enough. I don't know. I think it's going to be on Russell Wilson to kind of take over the team and put the team on his back. And they're going to have to win a little bit of a different way than they have been. On the other side of the coin, the Eagles season in a nutshell is probably a very similar storyline to this game. They've just been riddled with injuries. The Eagles have suffered so many injuries, so many tough situations for the Eagles, and I'll give them credit. They have battled back. But the only reason they're in this situation is because they did play in one of the easiest division in sports right now. They got to play the Giants and Washington Redskins twice. That's 4 of their 9 wins right there. And they were able to sneak into the playoffs on the last 4 games of the season. They were able to win out the last 4 and sneak into the playoffs, which is awesome. I'm not trying to shit on the Eagles by any means. I respect the grind. But they have had a tough road. Carson Wentz has played very well, but I mean, man, none of his receivers can get open. He threw for over 4,000 yards and didn't have a receiver over 500 yards. It's never happened in the NFL before. That is an insane stat. So as far as the history of the playoffs for these two teams have never faced each other. They have never faced each other in the playoffs. This is the first time they've ever played in the playoffs. Now, the Seahawks have only missed the playoffs twice since 2010, going 9-6 in that time frame, including the 2 Super Bowls, which they were 1-1 in. The Eagles, on the other hand, are on their 3rd playoff appearance in a row, and they've been 8-8 in the wild card round all time. As far as the big factors for the game for this matchup, the Seahawks rushing attack, like I said earlier, is going to be a huge factor. Their rush frequency is 46%. That's 6th in the league, 6th most in the league. They rush the ball 46% of the times that they have an offensive snap. The average is 41%. So that's a huge stat for this team. That's a huge part of their game. They've lost that. Now, the Travis Homer from Miami, he's an all right guy. He's going to be he's trying to fill in, and he's an all right running back. I believe he was like a 6th-round pick this past season. And, of course, Marshawn Lynch is coming back. I can't have that much faith in Marshawn Lynch at this point because he's been out of football. We don't know. He's a running back. We just don't know. I loved Beast Mode in his heyday. But that time's gone, and we don't know where he's at. I didn't see enough from the 49ers game to really get a good gauge on it. I just don't know. Now, on the other side of that, what I think this team is going to have to do is rely on the passing depth. The good news for the Seahawks is they have the 5th best passer rating on the season, they have Russell Wilson, who is 5th in passer rating on the season of all starting quarterbacks. They have Tyler Lockett, who's ranked 7th in adjusted receiving success. That's according to the Sharp Football Stats website that kind of does a more in-depth look at at all the receiving stats. Tyler Lockett is 7th among all receivers. That's really, really good. They have the ability to pass. That's the point of these stats. That's what I'm trying to get. And then, of course, they play an Eagles team that just isn't very good on the back end. They don't have a lot of healthy players, and they don't have a lot of talent behind that. It's not going to be good. I think that's going to be the way the Seahawks have to win this game, and I think that's okay. For the Eagles, the big thing is going to be their injuries. Can they overcome injuries? Can they overcome the amount of adversity that they've faced? The good news is, if you're from Philadelphia, or if you're a Philadelphia fan, you know that you want your team playing with a chip on their shoulder. It just helps. Like, we watched the 2017 Super Bowl champ Eagles play and go through the playoffs with a chip on their shoulder. And if you thought that chip was big, this one's huge. No one is giving this team a chance, and that might be their biggest asset. And then on the other side of it, they are playing at home. They are playing against a team that is down some of their best offensive pieces, and they're going to have a chance to catch the Seahawks in a situation. They are on a 2-game losing streak in which, they lost in the final seconds of the final game of regulation last week against the 49ers. They're about 6 inches away from possibly having a first-round bye. Instead, they're the 5th seed going to Philadelphia. Then the Eagles are on a 4-game winning streak. If momentum is real, the momentum is in the Eagles' favor. My final thoughts for the game: I think this Seahawks team has more talent on it. I think they are going to be able to control this game. Defensively, I think they're going to be able to handle Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is going to need to have a magical performance to be able to outduel this Seahawks defense that isn't the greatest, but they are good enough, I believe, and they're definitely good enough to lock down the no-name receivers on the Eagles team right now. And on the other side of the ball, I think the Seahawks and Russell Wilson is going to be able to kind of, I would hope that they're going to be able to change the mold of their offense and go switch to a passing first type of offense, and I think they can do it. I think they have the pieces. Russell Wilson is incredibly talented. They have a great number 1 receiver in Tyler Lockett, and they have a good number 2 in DK Metcalf. All in all, I think the Seahawks control this game pretty much throughout. I think this is going to be one of those games where the Seahawks are scoring touchdowns and the Eagles are scoring field goals. I have the final score 24-16, which the Eagles maybe come out and get a last-minute touchdown to make it look a little bit closer than it actually was. But that's my assessment. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please leave a like and subscribe. Check out the other videos in this wildcard series if you liked this one, and check back for another video soon. Thanks, guys.